Today I'm in the shop and I'm so excited because I get to introduce you to the brand new Kreg jig. This is their 720 pocket hole and it is amazing. And I am going to dive deep into it, show you all of the bells and whistles and how to use it to get perfect pocket hole joints. Now this video is sponsored by Kreg and I am so excited to be working with them on this new pocket hole jig because it is like they got into my head and gave me all the features that I didn't know I wanted, but they make woodworking so much easier. So let's zoom into here and get close with this jig and see what it's all about. This new Kreg jig is built just like the old one with a steel reinforced case, but a lot of amazing features. And the very first one you're gonna notice is how the Kreg jig looks a lot different from the one you're used to, but it's on this angle here. And they've got the clamp on the edge. Now this is their AutoMax Clamp, which is similar to their face frame and their corner clamp that I absolutely love. You don't have to adjust it at all. It automatically adjusts to whatever it is trying to clamp to. But the best part is, no matter what size of wood, so here, this is a 1x board, so it's only 3/4 of an inch thick, and I have done no adjustments on my jig. I just clamp it, and it is ready to drill a pocket hole right there. But if I need to now switch to a 2x board is actually 1.5 inches thick. Again, I've done no adjustments on the jig, and it clamps and is ready for you to start drilling pocket holes. And so this is my absolute favorite because before I always waited and I'd always do all my pocket holes for my 3/4 inch thick, then I do all my pocket holes for my 1.5 inch thick. On the other side of this, there is a dial that allows you to increase or decrease the pressure of your AutoMax clamp. This can come in handy if it feels like it's just a little too tight when you push, reduce the pressure, or vice versa. If it's a little wobbly, you can increase the pressure. So that's how you're going to adjust this AutoMax clamping. Now you do have to still make adjustments on your bit when you are ready to drill your pocket hole. So let's take a look at the bit. The bit will come in this little envelope and it comes with the collar separate. So you will need to put that on here. But this bit is very similar to the bit for the 320 that was released last fall. And if you can see here on the actual bit, it tells you exactly where you are going to put your collar. There's nothing else you have to look at except for on the bit. So you just line your collar up with the number. So if we're going to be drilling pocket holes for 3/4 inch thick material, I'm just gonna make sure I see the 3/4 inch in my collar and tighten it up. And this handy little blue piece comes with it to tighten it all up. And then you're ready to drill your pocket holes. Need to change, it's a quick twist. Change it, we're gonna change it for 1.5 inch, tighten, and now we're ready to drill our pocket holes with that, which is great. Now, my second favorite feature of this pocket hole jig is the onboard storage. No more looking around for all of your bits. Your drill bit slides right into here, snaps right into place. Your handy dandy tool that we're gonna even be using for more things slips right into here as well. Also comes with your 2 bits, your longer bit and your shorter bit, which again, snap right into here. Can't do this from the back very easily. There we go. And snaps into here. And now I always have all of my pocket hole accessories on hand when I need it. The next thing I want to take a look at is this kind of odd looking thing here. This is actually the new dust collection system for the pocket hole jig. Instead of having a piece that hangs off the back, I always kicked that and knocked it off. This actually slides right into your pocket hole jig, clicks into place, and now you are ready to collect all of those chips as you are drilling your pocket holes. If you have something that will connect to this, that's great, but if not, it actually comes with this device that will adapt it perfectly to fit a standard shop vac. You're going to slide it in here, and there actually clicks into place. Slide it into here, and then let's attach the shop vac. It's a little tight here to begin with. which is gonna be great when it's up and running. So now I am ready for dust collection to be keeping my workspace a lot cleaner while I'm doing my pocket holes. And the last feature we're going to be looking at is the docking station. Now the docking station only comes with this 720 Pro jig, but you can purchase it separately if you purchase the 720 and then decide you want to add the docking station later. Now what the docking station does is it is going to be attached to both sides of our jig. And inside of one of these, when you open it up, you're going to see all of the accessories that go with the docking station. The other one comes empty, but it's another great place for storage. So we're going to pull out all of these pieces and take a look at them. So in order to set up your docking station, you have these little clips here, and they snap into the bottom on both sides of the Kreg jig. I'm actually going to flip this around, since that is the way I would be clamping it. Nope, I think I actually like it better on my station this way. And then on the docking station, you have these that snap right into it. Now the great thing about the docking station is more than just storage for things next to it. It also makes sure that all of your pieces of wood, make sure that all of the pieces of wood are kept nice and level. This is a perfect height for the jig, so you're not ending up with things teeter-tottering. You can clamp it down and drill, and it keeps things nice and level on the sides. It's going to be really great if you're working with really large pieces of wood. And the other thing about the docking station is it folds right up, and it has these little snaps right here that will keep it in place for storage. So you are ready to load up your docking station with all your accessories and put it away and pull it out easily whenever you're ready to go. And it's that easy. Now the docking station does come with another thing, which I am super excited about. And this handy little tool is going to allow you to make repeatable pocket holes. The placement of them is going to be repeatable. So you do have to put this little thing together like this. Super easy, slides right in. Then we're going to take the gray piece, square piece, and fit it in the bottom. And there's a nut that goes on the bottom inside of that. My fingers will work for me today. And then you have a dial that screws into this. Now what this does, and you don't need to screw it down tight to begin with, you're going to slide this onto your docking station. And you can move it back and forth to create a stop block. Then when it's where you want, you tighten it down, and now no matter what, when you put your wood in, it's going to stop at that exact point every single time, and you can do many repeatable pocket hole jigs. So this is going to be a great handy little tool. It comes with the docking station, and you can put it right or left. Also on the docking station, there are measurements, so you can look closely at those and set your docking station stop up depending on exactly where you need it. And the last thing that comes with the docking station is your clamp. And this clamp is how we're going to attach it to our workstation. And you can attach this to any workstation. I have this portable folding table that I have been using as my Kreg pocket hole station for the longest time. It's really handy. I can move it around the workshop wherever I'm working, but you can put it on your work table. You could put it on basically any work surface, and the clamp is just going to hold it steady for you while you're working to make it a lot easier. And I'll flip this around so you can see it. You can put the clamp in right here on the end. Oh, I can't clamp it to the edge there, but that's where the clamp goes. Or if you do not have the docking station on your jig, which is super easy to remove, you can also use the jig in this position. And the great thing about flipping the jig over, if you're working with large sheets of plywood or very long boards that are too long for your ceiling height, you can flip it over, All of the features work exactly the same in this new orientation. And you can still clamp this to your work surface because there are a place to attach your clamp here and on the back. So no matter which way you want to use your Kreg jig, you can secure it and make it for easy use. Now, before I set my jig up on my workstation how I want it, I do want to point out one more thing. If you do have the 720 without the docking station, it does come with these handy little extenders on the side. This is built in. It will still give you the same, not quite as large, but it still gives you that support on both sides. Also, when these are open, you will notice inside of your jig, there are places that you can secure your jig with screws to any workstation, which is more permanent and, well, not totally permanent, but definitely not as easy to move around as the clamp, but you can secure it to your station with screws instead of the clamp if you prefer to go that direction. And that comes already built into the 720, and it does not require the Pro or the docking station to do so. So now I'm going to set my jig up how I like it with my docking station and clamp to my table, and then we'll drill some pocket holes. So I've got my jig set up, it is secured tight, got my docking station in place, and I've already got the dust collection attached to it. Now, I do want to talk about a couple little things. Very similar to the previous Kreg jig, you have your 3 holes on the top. If you're going to be doing like a 2x4 or a 1x4, you use the 2 outside. If you're doing a 1x2, you've got 2 closer together. The one in the middle is not perfectly centered because it's made to work with more standard lumber sizes when you are attaching your pocket holes. But one new thing they have added to it is there are these little lines on the top with a dot in it. And what those are your perfectly centered line for the sets of pocket holes. So I've got this 1x2 here, and if I want to make sure that my pocket holes are perfectly centered on this 1x2, as long as I make a mark where my center is going to be, which 1x2 is 1.5 inches, so I'm just going to make a mark at 3/4 inches. All the way down, 1.5 inches, yeah, it's 3/4, right? That's 1/2, that's why it looks off. Okay, so now you're going to have to make the mark a good amount of the piece of wood because of where the pocket hole lines up. Then, when you put it in there and you go to line it up, I'm going to line it up with the hole and the dot, the line and the dot that's in between the 2 closest holes, because those are the holes I want to use for the thinner material, and clamp it. And now I know, because that is lined up with my center mark, that my pocket holes are going to be centered. So let's grab our drill bit, and this is a 1x2, which means it's 3/4 inch thick. So we're going to change it to 3/4 inch on my drill bit, and then put this in my drill. Turn on the dust collection, it's going to get loud. And there we have it. Perfect pocket holes, perfectly centered. Now, one of the things that you are going to notice on your handy little tool, I don't know exactly what it's called, I call it my handy little tool because I use it for everything. It also has a perfect gauge on it, so in case you don't know off the top of your head that a 1x2 is 3/4 inch and a thick, and a 2x4 is 1.5 inches thick, you can actually use this gauge and just hold it up to your wood, and you'll see that the 1x2 is actually falling around the 3/4 inch mark. It's in between the lines there. That means it's 3/4 inch thick. If I hold it up to my 2x4, you'll see that it's at the 1.5 inch thick mark. And here I have a 1/2 inch piece of plywood, so I can hold it up here and see that it's at the 1/2 inch mark. So this is very handy in case you don't off the top of your head know how thick all of your material are for pocket holes. Okay, so now that we've drilled our pocket holes in a 3/4 inch thick material, let's switch it up real fast and do pocket holes in this scrap of 2x4. So the first thing you always want to do is make sure to change your bit. That does have to be done manually. So I pull my bit out of my drill and use the tool to loosen the collar. And because I already know that it's 1.5 inches thick, if not, feel free to measure it. I'm going to move that up so I can see the 1.5 inches in the window of the collar. Put my tool away, and now we're ready to go. And for a 2x4, I'm actually going to be using the 2 outer pieces of material. If I wanted to make sure they're perfectly centered, I could make marks again, but the 2x4s to me, as long as they're centered on the actual jig, will give perfect centered pocket holes if you use the 2 outer holes. So clamp it down, and we're going to turn on that dust collection. And whenever you drill your pocket holes, you want to make sure that you sink the pocket hole bit all the way till the metal of the collar touches the metal of your pocket hole jig. Then we can release it, and there we go. Now, if we did want to make pocket holes, say in a 1/2 inch thick material, it'd be the exact same way. Now, one thing that you may notice that is different from the 720 to the old pocket hole, like the K4 or the K5, is there are not marks for other material thicknesses. You only have marks for a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1.5 inch. But what if you are using non-traditional wood sizes, like 1.25 or 1 inch? Now, what you would do is use your little tool here, and you can hold up your material, and if it is too thick, I don't have something to show you, or put it where it's closest. So if this one is 1 inch, I'm actually going to use the 3/4 inch pocket hole for it. I'm just going to use a longer screw. So if you have a piece of material and it's 1.25, you can use the 1.5 inch pocket hole and use a shorter screw. The Kreg's pocket hole screws come in a wide range of screws lengths. Most common are 1.25 inch for 3/4 inch material and 2.5 inch for 1.5 inch thick material. But they do have sizes all the way in between that you can use to make the perfect pocket hole no matter what thickness your material is. So starting now, you're not going to be able to purchase the K4 or the K5 Kreg jig anymore. Those have been retired, and they've been replaced with the 720 and a 520, which is another reimagined pocket hole jig. But your old pocket hole, it still works. Your old pocket hole jig, you can continue to use it. Even though these have a ton of new features, if those other ones are working for you, don't feel the need to run out immediately and upgrade. But if you really like some of the new features you're seeing and are going to be putting pocket hole jigs to use, I definitely think it would be worth upgrading if you're going to be using that a lot in your shop. I know I've been using my pocket hole jig for a decade now, and I absolutely love it, and I have upgraded slowly as my woodworking needs have proven necessary to have more efficiency in my shop. So if you have any questions and I missed anything, definitely leave a comment below. If you liked what you see, hit subscribe so you can see all of the new videos that I have to share.